Hey guys, what is up, and I welcome each and every one of you to a new League of Legends video. So if you've been up to date with League of Legends recently, you may have noticed somewhat of a new trend. And that trend of course is running Summoner Teleport in the mid lane. Now Teleport in mid lane isn't something completely out of the ordinary, however the fact that it's occurring a lot more frequently nowadays to the point where it's almost being considered more normal than almost any other summoner spell is definitely something new. I mean, just within the first week of Worlds, you see a lot of high-level players running it in the mid lane on champions you probably wouldn't have expected it on, maybe like Orianna, or even someone like Veigar. And I bet if you've been playing solo queue for the past few days, you're probably seeing your mid laners almost always take teleport. Well, now that teleport mid is becoming so popular and a lot of people are really starting to use it, I decided to make a video talking further about it, since I think that many people aren't really aware why exactly it is strong, why maybe some parts of it aren't that good, and also what champions does it really excel at. And hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have more knowledge on this somewhat new meta TP mid lane. So first things first, why is TP mid lane good and why has it become so popular? Well, the great thing about TP mid lane is the fact that it's a very team-oriented summoner. In my opinion, it is one of the most selfless type summoners since it offers huge utility and assisting your team around the map. And even when you don't necessarily use the teleport itself, the enemy team is still aware that you do have the summoner spell available and they have to play with that in mind. And comparing it to the ones we're more used to seeing, such as maybe Ignite, Heal, or Barrier, those summoner spells are a lot more selfish since it only really does help yourself. But overall, it is just simply very strong on champions that do not need Ignite to help their damage or have a team that can peel to prevent taking Barrier or Heal. So for instance, Veigar is not a champion where Ignite will be very useful since it won't really add a whole lot to the way his kit and his damage works, nor will Ignite be useful on someone like maybe a Xerath because they're usually way too far out of range to even use the summoner spell. At the end of the day, it does really depend on what the enemy team has and what you have on your own team as well. But one of the biggest reasons why TP mid is just so prominent is because it offers huge macro control over the map and the game. Macro, by the way, meaning something like managing the whole game or managing certain aspects of the game and just overall controlling it. And something like that with TP of course offering it is absolutely massive in team play. So for instance in ranked 5s or maybe in professional play, because it is very organized and such things can be put to use to their fullest. But it's also good in solo queue because you can put a lot of pressure on the enemy team and force them to do things they don't want to do, being able to dictate what happens, how, and when. So the TP will allow you to teleport top lane, bottom lane to help your team capitalize on mistakes, snowball your team yourself, deny enemy team ganks or plays, and overall it really just makes you have a Twisted Fate ultimate as a summoner spell. But another very important reason why Summoner Teleport is very good mid lane is because it helps champions that either have a poor laning phase and or have a bad matchup. So it really just helps them get past the laning phase due to them being able to back whenever they want early for items, maybe more potions or rewards, without sacrificing much or any CS. Or if you get ganked and lose a lot of HP or even die, well, after you respawn you can get back to the laning phase very quickly. And in my opinion, this summoner spell shines even better on champions that scale well into late game and are not required to destroy their lane. So one of the reasons top lane currently is regarded as one of the best lanes is mainly due to the TP presence that they have throughout the game. Well, now you can simply apply that to mid lane as well, and there you go. You now more or less offer the exact same presence. Another very good positive to TP mid lane is the fact that if the enemy team has a lot of global ultimate champions, so for instance Twisted Fate, Shen, Rek'Sai, Teleport will be very useful here since it'll let you match their presence. And then mid to late game it helps you control objectives, maybe allow you to split push with more opportunities. And I actually think it has very good uses within team fights as well, but it does require specific scenarios, such as allowing you to back in the middle of a team fight, get home guard full HP instantly, and then teleport right back into the fight. Effectively, you reset yourself in the team fight. So overall, it just offers an easier and safer laning phase, huge control across the map, catching people off guard and assisting the team to snowball, denying the enemy team opportunities, great objective control and split push potential late game, and it could potentially let you reset yourself in a team fight. But let's talk about the negatives of teleport mid lane. So the most obvious one is winning lane against someone that's running something like Ignite will definitely be much harder. But the good thing is it is still very much possible. And contrary to what I just recently said, Teleport will still not be anywhere near as effective in most scenarios as maybe Exhaust, Ignite, Heal, or Barrier in team fights because those spells are instant while Teleport does require some time to set up. Also, since your top laner probably is also running teleport, it can be a little awkward and difficult to play around with that and organize your team to work off of that in solo queue since the coordination is not really there. And like I mentioned earlier as well, it really does depend on what you're facing, what your team has, because other summoner spells in certain scenarios might just be flat out better. So you'll want Ignite of course if you're playing a champion that's looking to snowball from the lane because they have a really big power spike mid game but then fall off late game. Cleanse against people that can pick you off easily like maybe Ahri, Twisted Fate, or maybe even someone like Ashe, and overall just things like that. And finally, let's talk about what kind of champions is TP really strong on. Now in my personal opinion, there's a few different types of categories. The first of which being mages that use either a lot of mana or care about the team fight and scaling only. So for instance, Ziggs, Veigar, Anivia, Ryze, Orianna, and there's many more. This helps them get through the laning phase since again they do use a lot of mana, and teleport overall just ensures that they will scale into late game quite effectively without having too many issues in the laning phase. The second category are melee type assassins that scale well but have a poor laning phase, so Echo, Diana, Fizz, Kassadin. All of these assassin champions don't really do super well in the laning phase, but they're all extremely strong in the late game. And teleport really just helps them get through those first few levels that are just very difficult, on top of almost every positive I mentioned near the beginning of the video. Following that, we have champions that work well off of global control, but then teleport emphasizes it even further, so maybe Twisted Fate and Kassadin. So if Twisted Fate were to ult bottom and get a few kills, then he can instantly teleport back into mid lane, and he has almost zero downtime, really maximizing the amount of efficiency that he can provide. And then we have champions with good CC and assisting potential, so like a Lulu, Echo, Diana, Ryze, and Kassadin. Champions that have huge presence whenever they do teleport to assist their team, whether it's maybe shielding them or slowing people down. Echo with his stun and slow as well, Diana with her huge burst, CC with her E ability, Ryze of course snaring, and Kassadin being Kassadin. And the final category are champions I'm personally still questioning, but I'm not going to be super surprised if we start seeing teleport on them as well. So Zed, Talon, and LeBlanc, all these champions are ones that are extremely strong into the mid game especially, and that's why Ignite is usually better on these champions so that you can get even stronger when that time comes. But at the same time, imagine someone like LeBlanc teleporting down to the bot lane and the amount of presence that she can provide. I personally think that can be absolutely devastating. But that right there guys is it for this video. Hopefully you have learned a thing or two about teleport, why it's becoming so popular, and why it really is just a really good summoner spell. If you did enjoy guys, please definitely hit that like button and share with your friends. Subscribe if you have not. Check out my other videos as well, I'd really much appreciate it, and hope to see you for the next one as well. Peace.